What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got a little quick review for you. Overview review of a knife I've kind of reviewed before. This is the Demko Knives AD-20.5, but this one's a slicer. It's a little bit different than the other one, different blade shape also. Before I get into it, I want to thank everyone that's a channel member, Patreons. I really appreciate that. If it's your first time here, hey, hit the like button. If you want to hear me ramble more, subscribe to the channel down below. Really appreciate that. And thanks to all my Patreons and channel members and everyone for keeping me going, man. This has been an awesome experience. I really do have a lot of fun doing it. So this one is available, or was available, on BladeHQ.com. I think the blacked out variants are still available right now. This one was on sale for 120 bucks, which is pretty good for 20 CV with a short lock on it and everything, I think. Anyway, really cool little knife. We'll talk all about it, but if you want to buy one, if you want to get the one with the blacked out on it, or the cub, I think the slicer cub's actually still available, I think, on BladeHQ.com. It's on sale also. So before I get into it, let's go ahead and do overall measurements, get through the specs and all that stuff. Do a measurement here from the tip of the blade to the end of the handle. You're looking right at 7 5/8 on overall length. Blade length 3 1/4 if you go all the way up to there where it meets up with the handle at, and right at 3 inches on the sharpened edge length. The calipers out here. Alright, on the AD-20.5 slicer, you got 124 thousandths on the thickest part of the spine right there. 126, 125 right there. Swedges down to, let's see, 22 thousandths. That's what I got just above where that swedge begins, where that sharpened bevel begins, rather. 28 thousandths right there. Pretty thin knife too. 0.37 of an inch. A little bit thinner than the most knives, especially that same, you know, length and everything. But yeah, not uncomfortable or anything, not like that. Just bear in mind it is a slightly thinner knife. The other 20.5 that I had, I used for size comparisons many times on this channel. That one was also a fairly thin knife. So size comparisons, we'll put it up next to that one at first, right? That's your Cold Steel Knives 8010. So definitely a lot smaller than that one. Let's look at the Spyderco Knives Paramilitary 2, Spyderco Para 3. So definitely more along the lines of the size of the Para 3. Although, whoop, if you look at the overall length, let's see here. The blade, the cutting edge length, actually. Para 2 still got a little more cutting edge, but AD-20.5 slicer is not too far away from it. And last but not least, we'll do the Ontario Knives Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Knives Rat Model 2. So definitely closer to the Rat 2 in overall length, and right there about the same as far as cutting edge. Alright, got the size comparisons. Let's go ahead and weigh this bad boy. Demko Knives AD-20.5 slicer in Ultim, as you can fairly easily tell, you know. 3.3 ounces, a little bit over the ounce and inch ratio, but no big deal there, really. Pretty close to it, a lot closer than a lot of other knives that I frequently carry. 3.4 is what I got there. So yeah, a little bit over the ounce and inch ratio, but no big deal. You can get deep carry clips for these, but this is the standard clip that comes with it. I gave my deep carry clip away to somebody whenever I gave away the other 20.5, so you have a little bit sticking out, you know. Not a big issue there, not a whole hell of a lot sticking out, but a little bit. Something to keep in mind. You got your little lanyard hole there for anybody that, Engages in the use of lanyards, Edyards, some people call them. I know a guy that calls them Edyards. All right, hardware check. Let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of pins right there going through and through, there and there, and up there, the stop pin. Let's see, this is a T8. And not a T8 for sure. I think that's a T6. Captive pivot on this one, that's really good. Yep. So that's a T8 on that. Wampum PA on the pivot, but be forewarned in case it matters to you. Taiwan is where these are actually made. The AD-20 is made in the USA. The AD-20.5 is the Taiwanese made smaller version of the AD-20. Let's go ahead and give a hardware check to those body screws. Now this one I did buy to maybe possibly do a modification on it one day. I'd like to change that Ultim out, although this Ultim's not too bad. I would like to change it out to titanium. They do have some titanium aftermarket scales available for this from a couple of different companies. Just got to be careful that you're getting the ones for the AD-20.5 slicer and not the AD-20.5. That should be in the description if you buy any aftermarket scales. So I think that's all the size comparisons, specs, all that stuff out of the way. Getting down to brass tacks on this one. Choked up. Ergonomics on it are really good. I like the ergonomics on it. You got jimping, of course, right here up top. Makes it really comfortable. Really big spot to put your finger. You know, you can choke up fairly well right there without touching that cutting edge on it and get a good up close slice on whatever you're cutting. Choke back. Still got a little bit of room even with large size glove, average size hands. Still got a little bit of room back there. And I don't know, I'd say choked up in that position is probably the most comfortable for this one. You know, when I'm normally cutting something, that's what I go for. I like the blade shape. Kind of like it on this one a little more than the shark's foot, sheep's foot, whatever they want to call it. That is the Demko name for the sheep's foot blade shape on their AD-20.5. This blade shape I really like. That is, I guess what you'd call a drop point, pretty much. That just looks like a classic drop point blade shape to me. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, as you guys are awesome at doing. But that looks like a classic drop point to me. The major selling factor of this knife is, of course, the shark lock right there. Very convenient, very good for keeping your fingers out of the blade path, you know, out of the cutting edge path when you're opening and closing the knife. Now the shark lock on this one I find is a little bit different than the Flytanium Arcade, and it's a little bit different than the other 20.5 that I had, which that one was the D2 one with Grivery handles and the shark's foot blade shape. That one was just a tad less tension on it, I guess, but this one's working in really good. I like the way it opens and closes. I haven't had a single issue with this thing. Got some pretty cool sounds, you know, when you open and close it. It's definitely a fidgety knife for sure. That clickety clack of the metal, that's pretty cool. And no thumb studs to get in the way of anything that you might be cutting. That's also pretty cool. You do have a little sharpening choil right there. You know, that could potentially snag or something. That's just something to keep in mind whenever you're cutting. This is overall, I'd say, for an EDC knife, you know, this is an excellent knife. I really would recommend this one. I'm going to put it on my most recommended knives playlist. Even with the Ultim, you know, the Ultim on this one is, they got that kind of, I guess that's diamond shape, whatever you want to call it there. You know, it does, I mean, it's Ultim, so it feels plasticky and stuff, but it doesn't feel cheaply made. You know, it feels very well put together with that lock. And of course, as I said earlier, it's a good mod platform if you want to eventually get some titanium scales for it or something else, maybe a deep carry pocket clip. You know, good one to start with at the base for the price and everything on it. And for 20 CV for 120 bucks with this on sale, that I thought that was an excellent price for sure for 20 CV. Demko AD-20.5. 20 CV is of course the equivalent of M390, and that bevel that they put on there, that is actually a factory bevel. You know, pretty wide for a factory bevel. You know, a lot of times you'll see a thinner factory bevel when you get a knife, and that one's actually pretty wide, pretty high degree there on that. That's pretty cool, or pretty low degree rather, I guess. But yeah, ergonomically it's awesome. I love the lock. Hardware, as far as taking it apart, you know, it could have been done a little bit better, I think. You know, maybe made these T8s, a single-sided captive pivot with the T8 on it. That's a good thing. So yeah, overall a great knife. I would definitely recommend it. It's going to go on my most recommended knives playlist. And yeah, so this is also going to be a size comparison knife for the channel, and I'm sure you guys have seen it already on some other videos. So that's about it, y'all. Appreciate everybody watching. Hit the like button if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of it. And I will see you guys on the next one. Stay sharp.